Hi, Tall Trainer here, and I got a new toy on my phone. So somebody showed me this app, and I fell in love with it. And so look at this. I mean, I can move this around. I can show you. I can spin around, do all this stuff. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the shoulder today. So it is a great tool to be able to talk about the anatomy of our shoulder. So if we look at this, here we have our little skeleton. If we look and I pivot this around, you can see that the shoulder blade here is is not attached, to the rib cage there. All right, it is not attached there. So the only really connection that attached the arm, in there is really the little clavicle. Right there is the only real, attachment that our arm has there. And so other than that, it is muscles that hold it together there. So I'm going to add a layer of muscle. So there's mostly just core muscles. Here is, some rib muscles. We picked up a little tricep muscle on the back of the arm there. I'm going to go one more in just to get us to the rotator cuff muscles. And some of you may not realize that the rotator cuff is not a cuff. It's actually a set of four muscles, and they kind of encapsulate, that. So we've got one over here. We've got one on top. We've got one coming from the side over there, and one over here. So these four muscles in there. So we got three that are across the back here. All right, so you got the top one here, you got this medium one, you got this bottom one there, and so and then of course the one from the front side is right in here, right on the inside of that shoulder there. The one that gets the most problems there, when somebody injures their rotator cuff, it is most often this muscle across the top, the supraspinatus. And so if you look at this, let me move this over so you can see it. Deselect that. So that muscle right on top. You see this tiny little channel, right in here, for that muscle to try to fit through. So there's a bone right above it there, and so there's a little tiny spot. So it's running right underneath. Let me get this straight out there. Right underneath that ridge there. All right. And so what happens is when somebody takes their arm up overhead, so if you imagine, the humerus here moving up, it ends up banging that muscle, in between this bone and that bone, between the shoulder bone and there. So it slowly saws it away, basically. And so holding good posture really matters a lot for keeping this muscle intact there. And so if you look at, we have the rotator cuff muscles on, we still don't have it touching the rib cage. See, there's still space there where it's not touching the rib cage, so it's not really connected just yet. All right, so we're going to add another layer of muscle here. And so we just picked up a little tiny muscle there, so we'll add one more. And so now we got the serratus anterior. That's this muscle right across the front there. All right, and that's kind of cool because that one connects into the back of the shoulder blade there, and provides some stability for the shoulder. So now it's connected. Now it is connected to the body a bit more, and so that is a helpful one there. And so we'll go one more notch in. All right, so now we've got a decent amount more, happening here. We picked up the Latissimus Dorsi over here. See this huge muscle across the back? That's the Latissimus Dorsi there, and that is responsible for the most part squeezing down and back with our shoulders. So a lot of times in class, I'll use the cue, squeeze your shoulders down and back. Sometimes I'll say stick your chest out and drop your shoulders down, and that is to try to get us to activate this muscle more and to use these tiny little muscles, in the front of our body and stuff like that less, because they are not set up really well for it. Like something interesting to talk about here is the bicep tendon. So we click on that bicep there. You see a little yellow tendon, running up through there. And so that little tendon, if your shoulder is up and forward, as you're doing bicep curls or other exercises, that poor little tendon is getting beat up. When your shoulder is squeezed back and down, is that tendon does not take on as much pressure. So we do want to watch out for that, as we are exercising. And so what you can see already right now is a decent amount of support across the back, not a lot of support on the front, and that's where our shoulder typically has the problems. Front and top is where our shoulders have more problems. If I go one more in, boom, all these muscles come in. So we got the trapezius on the back, huge muscles there. deltoid there and the pectoralis major. So some big muscles come in here, but these muscles don't get to be used in bad posture. So if your shoulders are up and forward, your chest muscle, your pectoralis major, does not function well up and forward, so it can't help out. So it's almost like we just cut it away. So now you're trying to do, your chest press with what? I mean, you got these like hardly any muscles in there, very little support, and so you're putting yourself at risk for more injuries when you don't have that right posture as you are exercising there. So as we add those muscles back in, even the trapezius there, they got these lower fibers right in here. They run up and down through here. They got this slashy angle, on that, and so they draw the shoulder back and down. And so as you are exercising, you will be stronger and safer if you can keep your shoulders rolled back and squeezed down, and it'll be a lot better for all these little small muscles, for that shoulder joint, for your rotator cuff, all of those things in there. So this is Jeremy playing with my new toy.